Welcome, dear soul. Before we begin, take a moment to close your eyes. Breathe, let go of what burdens you, even just for now. Because today, you're not just hearing a story. You're meeting a truth that may have been waiting for you all along. This is Golden Bell Dharma, where every bell you hear echoes the wisdom of silence, of surrender, of stillness. And this story begins not with a sword or a cane, but with a question you may have asked 1,000 times. Why did this happen to me? There was once a mighty king, feared by his enemies, respected by his allies, and worshipped by his people. But this king had a secret: he hated weakness. To him, pain was failure, and failure had no place in the life of a ruler. His court was filled with advisors who feared him, except for one, an old minister who had served the royal family for generations. The minister was peculiar. He was quiet when others panicked. He smiled when others mourned. And no matter what happened, he would always say, "Whatever happens, happens for good." It was more than a habit. It was his compass. But to the king, it was a thorn. He would often sneer, "Easy words from a man who has never bled in battle." The minister would bow. "And yet, my lord, even blood knows the way back to peace." One day, while preparing for an annual celebration, the king decided to clean his ceremonial sword himself, a weapon passed down from his ancestors. But as fate would have it, the blade slipped. It fell on his foot, slicing off his smallest toe. A cry echoed through the palace. Physicians rushed in. The wound bled badly. The king howled in pain, face twisted in rage, and standing quietly beside him, the minister simply said, "Whatever happens, happens for good." The room froze. The king turned, eyes blazing. "You dare say this is good? That I bleed, that I lose part of myself. And you call it fortune?" He roared, "Guards, take him, let him rot in the dungeon until he learns when silence is wiser than scripture." As the minister was led away, he looked back once and whispered, "Even this happens for good." Time passed. The king's wound healed, though the toe was forever gone. But anger lingered in him like a slow burning fire. Weeks later, seeking distraction, the king ordered a royal hunt. "Let wild beasts remind me that I am still whole," he said. Into the forest he went, followed by the finest horsemen and hunters. They pursued a golden stag, a rare creature said to bring good fortune if captured. But in the chase, the king strayed too far. Deeper into the forest he galloped, away from his men. Then, silence. When he realized he was alone, he tried to retrace his steps. But the forest had changed. The trees closed in like guardians of a secret. And then, rustling, shadows, a group of forest dwellers emerged. Silent and strong, they carried spears, wore bones as ornaments, and eyes that told stories of a different world. They surrounded the king. He spoke. They did not understand. He gestured. They did not bow. To them, he was not a king. He was a body, a healthy, strong, perfect body, exactly what they had been looking for. The tribe believed in ancient ways. Every moon cycle, they offered a human to the spirit of the forest, a life in exchange for protection, rain, harvest, and survival. And now, the stranger had arrived. They carried him with care, as one would carry a sacred object. They bathed him, clothed him in ceremonial robes, and sang songs that had not changed in 1,000 years. The king was terrified. No crown, no guard, no sword, only silence and drums. He thought of the palace, of his pride, of the minister's last words. He cursed the pain, the hunt, and his own arrogance. The priest approached with a blade carved from volcanic stone. But just as the ritual was to begin, the chief stopped everything. He examined the king, looked down, and saw it, a missing toe. Gasps erupted. The chief shook his head. "He is incomplete," he declared. "The spirits will not accept an offering that is broken." They released him. Just like that, the king was spared. Because of a missing toe. Days passed before the king found his way home. When he did, he was not the same man. He limped into the palace, face weary, eyes soft, and the first thing he did, he called for the minister. When the old man stood before him again, thin but serene, the king bowed. "Forgive me," he said. "You were right. My pain saved my life. But you suffered because of me. What good came from that?" The minister smiled. "Had I not been in prison, I would have been with you that day. As always, I, who have all my toes." would have been the perfect sacrifice. So you see, Your Majesty, both your suffering and mine were blessings in disguise. And that is why, I always say, whatever happens, happens for good. Now, dear listener, let's turn the mirror toward ourselves. How many times have you cried over loss? Over betrayal? Over something you didn't get? How many nights have you asked, why is this happening? Only to understand it years later? The truth is, life doesn't always give us what we want, but it always gives us what we need. That rejection was redirection. That heartbreak was release. That delay was divine timing. Sometimes, life breaks us, only to rebuild us in a way we never imagined. Pain is not punishment. Loss is not failure. Setbacks are not signs that you are unworthy. They are transitions, rites of passage. They are the forest calling you deeper, to discover something about yourself you would never have found otherwise. And when you emerge from that forest, limping maybe, you will know, everything that happened for good. If you are in pain right now, if you are in a chapter that feels unfair, unbearable, or unforgiving, breathe. Look not with the eyes of the moment, but with the eyes of eternity. You are not being cursed. You are being carved. Life is sculpting something sacred in you. One day, you'll look back and understand. So until that day comes, hold this close to your heart. Whatever happens, happens for good, not because life is easy, but because life is wise. Thank you for listening to Golden Bell Dharma. If this story touched your heart, share it, because sometimes, one story can save more than just a life. It can save a soul.